Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Serving It Up. Jim Hayes alongside Lance Lynn and Matt Holliday. It's a big bowl broadcast today because Lance and Matt are both eating a little breakfast. Matt, can you show us your bowl? See, I don't know what it is, but if you're a big guy, former professional athlete, you got to have a big bowl. Matt, what are you eating, please?
These are grass-fed beef sausages that I cut up into small pieces.
Mm.
I
Ooh.
can't manage to lose one.
Yeah,
So,
you can't tilt it, it'll fall out.
Yeah,
yeah.
it looks delicious. We see enough.
The show is called Serving It Up. So just serving up
Wow.
some sausages.
It's Thursday morning breakfast club.
Yeah.
Lance, what are you having? And please show us your bowl.
I have eggs and some hash browns. Eggs are from out back. We've got our own little
Sorry about
chicken coop. Yeah.
Yep.
So, we don't have to deal with the skyrocketed price in eggs these days. So we're good to go. So yeah, big bowl.
So I'm not a good host. I think that's been well established. But you said something on one of the programs from weeks ago. You dropped it in there, and my kid noticed it and said, "Please ask him about it." And I always forget. Is that a thing to say 6 or 7 in the middle of a show? Lance, you did it, maybe unbeknownst
What
to you.
what I say? Sometimes I say
You,
things.
you were saying 6 or 7, which is that, Grant? Is that like that's like a meme or a social media thing? And you didn't even know it. And my kid was like, Lance dropped in a 6 or 7. I know he did it intentionally. That's really cool.
No, that's just how I'd speak.
All
I'm
right. You
just
just,
I'm just naturally cool like that, not even knowing.
the kids
I
Lance
have
love
no
it.
social
Lance
media.
might have started it. He might have started the
And
trend.
that might have been where it started.
I like it. Yeah, Lance
6 or
Lynn.
7. I'll have to look up what it means so I don't say it.
Grant, do you know what it means?
Just a social media joke.
It's just a social media thing that means nothing and people throw in. By the way, this microphone, not functional, just prop to make me seem more professional because otherwise it's not
You
working.
want to do it?
You have one,
Yeah.
but it's not working.
It's for a program that I do that actually makes money for me. But
Oh, God.
Oh,
Hey,
boom
listen.
roasted. Boom roasted.
Okay, well, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, I like full transparency. I sent out a group text that said, "Hey, we're starting to make some money off this. How should we disperse it?" And no one replied. And I thought to
I
myself,
don't think we believed it.
we
I didn't
thought you
believe
were
it.
kidding.
Yeah.
no,
Like he's
no,
joking, right?
I thought that was
no,
hilarious.
We actually
well,
had a side text saying, he's joking, right?
no. Here's the thing: is that
We
it's
really don't have to
money.
send anything in, do we?
It's not money to you. It's money to me because we have, you know, different different financial situations. I think
Is
it's a
this
good
you
way
trying
to.
to get us to give our portion to you? Is that what this
No,
is?
no,
Oh.
I don't care. Like it's
Oh.
not life changing money. Certainly for you, you might even just throw the check away with your financial situation. But I did put it out there, and I haven't. So at some point, I'm going to get a check from the company doing this, and I'm going to have to disperse it. So just out of curiosity, is it 33, 33, 33? Is it 25, 25, 25, 25? Even though we give Kyle money because he's part of the show, hasn't been on in 8 months.
Should we prorate it per
Thoughts
show?
and prayers to Kyle because he's going through a house situation right now with a builder. That's why he's not here today. A builder sort of backed out of the house that they're.
He said we can't bury him yet. We're gonna wait to see before we can bury him. So
But,
you gotta wait.
but we will bury them, right? I mean, we will
When-
eventually bury
Whenever
them.
Kyle gives me the okay, that usually means I'm allowed to say what I wish. So that's how I know it's okay.
I think we
All right,
should prorate it per show. I'm sure we can pull that off.
It's a lot of math, and you got the wrong guy for it.
Somebody can do math.
With
Oh,
all
all right.
smartphones and these dumb people, I'm sure something.
I bet
All right,
Chat
someone-
GPT, if you put it in Chat GPT, he could come up with a formula.
Now, do you guys get more because no one would watch if it was just me talking, or do I
That
get
feels
more
fair.
because I have to organize this, or is it all the
Hmm.
same? I think it's a fair question.
I think we should just stick to the prorated portion of the.
Okay, then I'm gonna email the guy who's in charge of this and say, hey, with the payment that's coming due, can we prorate it and then just leave it up to him to figure it out?
Or we can just cut Kyle out completely.
I love Kyle. He's smart too.
Yeah.
I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
by the way, full transparency. Last night, late notice, when Kyle said he couldn't be here, I texted Matt Carpenter, who I've had a couple people say you got to get him in the mix because he's great.
Right.
And he is right now is on the golf course.
Oh
Tonight
my
he goes.
gosh.
Well, hold on. Tonight he goes into the TCU Hall of Fame. So it's part
Nice.
of the ceremony. The Hall of Fame inductees play golf and have an outing.
Nice. I got that in November, so I might be busy in November.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. You're going to go into
Are we
your.
doing this in the off season?
We'll talk. We got a couple more shows. We'll talk. I think we should, or maybe once a month. We'll talk about it. How are those sausages, Matt?
Great. I'm
Great.
almost done if it's bothering anybody. All the
No, I don't. Enjoy your breakfast. Let's talk a little baseball. I guess the main thing now is it's Heim's team. Mo is going to be out the door at the end of the season. My first question is I think there should be some sort of ceremony for Mo. I think because things went south the last couple of years, fans are angry. Should there be a ceremony maybe Sunday, the last home game of the season for Mo? And do you think the reception will be rough, or will people understand big picture? Mo is a Cardinal Hall of Famer.
I think there should be. I don't know what the response would be, which would make it awkward. So I I mean I think he's done a ton, obviously, for the organization, and I like Mo. We've talked about this before on the show. Um, I certainly think he should be honored, but if we think the overwhelming consensus would be a boo or a negative reaction from the crowd, then maybe don't maybe don't do it. I don't know.
What would
Yeah,
you do, Lynn?
I think he deserves one. I think that it might be one of those things that happens a year or two down the line, just to kind of let the taste in their mouths wash away a little bit, if that makes sense. I think he's getting blamed for this season, and if you're going to tell me that I know I'm going out, I don't think I'm going to not try to go for it and not try to do all this. So I don't know. Dave Dombrowski like just lit the whole every farm system on fire before he left, trying to win, and then everyone talks about how great he is. Mo didn't get a chance to. You can talk about Heim's team. Heim's the one. This is Heim's team this year. Mo didn't have any fingerprint on this team. Mo was stuck with what's on the field this year, and he had no say so of it. I don't think he would have done anything that's gone on this year, knowing that it was his last year. So that's my opinion. So this is year one of Heim right now. So I think that needs to be known. Last year was Mo's last year trying to go for it when he signed Kyle and I and Sonny and did all those things, and we were over 500 team that just didn't score any runs.
It's fair. You're a smart guy too. I like the idea of bringing Mo back in a year when things have kind of calmed down. I never tell fans how to. It's your money, right? You're paying to see games. You're paying to see them on TV. Whatever. You want to boo, boo. Just don't make it personal, right? So I guess this is right on the cusp where I think most fans realize body of work. Mo was really, really good, but the anger of the current situation might bleed into it, and it might be a bad reaction. Do you think? I'm just curious. Lance, you think it would be a bad reaction if they
Uh,
suddenly introduce Mo?
Yeah, I mean and it's solely because of this year. I mean, I guess so, not solely. The last 3 years. Okay, last year we were a team that was above 500, and the year before was a dud, right? So then you go into this year where it was we're cutting money, we're not spending, we're not trying to win, and like I said, if it's your last year, there's no way that that's how you're going to go about it. Because there was a lot of ways to improve this team in the free agent market that he was not allowed to do. Then so that's where I was like, this was Heim's team all year. But yeah, he's going to get boots because of what's going on this year and what they're mad about the last 2 years. But the year before we went for it, we just didn't get it done. We didn't score runs. We pitched a little bit better than the year before, so he was putting, doing the things that he needed to put a winning product on the field. It just hasn't happened because of players not performing and or injuries and things like that. But this year was, if he gets blamed for this year, I find it to be horseshit. That's the way I'm going to put it. And if that's how you want to look at him, as a fan, that's nonsense. You know, go back and look at every other year when he put the winning product on the field, and when the ownership gave him the ability to spend money, he went for it. This year, he didn't get any of those things, and he had to sit with it being his last year. So I think he got kind of a raw deal at the end here.
You agree that it would be a bad scene, Matt?
I'm guessing so. I think that, like Lance said, I think that I know Mo wanted to do one more year, but like Lance said, I think it would have probably been better if he'd have just gone ahead and said, you know what, if we're not going to put any resources into it and we're not going to really go after it, then I'm going to walk away, or if and turn it over to Chaim. I just know, I think he has a good relationship with the DeWitts, and that there was a transitioning. He had agreed to help transition the organization into the next wave of leadership, and kind of help revamp the farm system setup and some of those things. So I applaud him for sticking it out. But like Lance said, this season was the runway season, so to speak. Everyone talking about giving young players runway, and they really overachieved in my mind. I think Ollie did an amazing job, and I think they won more games than I think almost everybody predicted. And the first half of the season, they were kind of the talk of baseball a little bit of, hey, the Cardinals are actually pretty good. So I look, I'm kind of with Lance. I think you wait. I don't think that the fans truly would acknowledge Mo's tenure in the right way currently, based on the landscape and the temperature of the fan base.
Fair enough. And Chaim has, been there for a year now. Granted, sort of behind the scenes now, starting to make himself more apparent. If you're Chaim Bloom, Lance, and he's been there a year, so he's already done some renovations, minor league stuff like that. What's the first thing you would do? Like, suddenly you're in charge, you're Chaim Bloom. What's the first thing you do?
Well, this is year two because he was there all last year too. So he has 2 years of knowing what he has in the farm system, what he has at the big league level, and it's time to, like you call it, runway. It's, hey, here are my guys, here are their spots they're going to play, and what can I put around them in the free agent market to put a winning product on the field. I think that's where it's at. And if we want to say, I don't know what their plans are this offseason, but if you don't know that right now, then I don't know what we've been doing the last 2 years, because it's kind of obvious who's ready to go, who's a guy, and who's part of the future, and then everyone else that's kind of in the same boat as that guy that you choose. Either find another position for him, or see what you can do with him in the trade market or something like that to get what you need to make a winner on the team. So I'm anxious to see if they're going to go, oh well, we're going to give Chaim his first year as the GM. It's like, well, that was this year, technically, in my opinion. What you have. That was the runway year. You had a free year of evaluating as a, I don't know, a special assistant. I don't know what his exact title was this year, but he had 2 years of evaluating the whole organization top to bottom to be able to jump in and put a winning product on the field with some money, with some maneuvering and free agency, and then also trade market to what we have on the roster and in the organization right now, in my opinion.
What's job one for Matt Holliday if he were in Chaim's shoes right now?
Well, I think the first question is, what is my budget, right? So going to DeWitt and saying, what's my payroll? What am I allowed to spend? How can I fill the holes? Like, do I have the backing to go out and sign a frontline starting pitcher or a middle of the order bat? I mean, am I in the market for the top end of the free agency, or is it simply trying to get better by small waiver claims, or trying to make trades that might trying to find kind of diamonds in the rough, if you will. I mean, what is my money situation And then from there, if he doesn't already know that, I would probably assume they've already met about that. I would hope. Um, and then from there, coming up with a game plan of how to attack. Like if I don't have money, then I've got to figure out what the value of my current players are, what the value of my minor league players are to everybody else, right? I can put my own evaluation on my own players, and sometimes it's higher, and maybe at times it's not as high as other organizations. So I think that's where you start, and then when the off season or when the season ends and you're prepared to kind of get after it and try to figure out ways to make the team better.
I'm going to take it a step higher. If you're the owner, right, and you talk about how much of your money you're going to put into the team, knowing it's a reset, retool, and you know that there's a potential work stoppage. Look, I love FanDuel. Thank you. I love FanDuel. But there's the issue with FanDuel and what the future is with the amount of money you can get with your TV contract. Would that factor into, Lance, your decision of how you're going to approach the upcoming season financially? I mean, it seems like that would be prudent.
So I'm going to say that every owner is going to approach this the same way. I don't know, and I think it's kind of weird how they all do that. Someone called that collusion, but I think that they're all going to prove a point going into the new CBA, and I don't think anybody's going to spend. I really don't. There's going to be a couple of teams that don't care, and those are the teams that are everyone's wanting to point out anyways. And there's going to be guys that do value deals because they're good values. But in the gist of it, teams that do not think that they're going to say win or compete with the Dodgers and Mets and Yankees of payrolls are not going to spend money until the new CBA is locked in and ready to go to try to prove a point to players that they need to have a salary cap. So I think this is going to be a weird couple of years for anybody that's not top 5 markets. It's good. They every other owner mid market or small market is wanting to prove to the fans and show the players, look, this is how it's going to be, and here's what's going to happen is the medium or mid tier free agents going to get pushed out. It's either rookies or superstars, and that's the way that they're going to show the fans and the players, like, we either do this or this is how it's going to be. So yeah, I could see no spending at all this offseason for the Cardinals, if that's what you're asking.
How do you see it, Matt?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Jeff Passan put out an article today about the trending and heading towards this next CBA in December of 26 or whenever it expires. That the cap, and here's my thing. I've heard all these things about the cap, and they're willing to lock out and miss the whole season. But then you have Rob Manfred announcing that the game is doing great, and we're going to add 2 more teams, and we're going to realign divisions, and we're going to redo playoffs, and everything is great. And then you have this narrative of, oh yeah, we're bleeding, we're hemorrhaging money. We got to have a cap. We got too much. We just can't do this anymore. Like the economy of baseball, we have to have a cap. And so then you have the rumors of they're going to cut the draft to 10 rounds or 5 rounds, and that they're going to use college as the minor league system, and they're going to eliminate another level of the minor leagues. And so they have all these big plans. And then, but there's also a negotiating part of this, right? So there's another side. And so I just think that, look, if you're dead set on a cap, and whatever that cap is, there has to be a floor, and we can't have, the money can't swing that far. You can't have a cap and then you have teams like, the bottom 5 payrolls that are all under $100 million, right? I mean, it's just, so we got to bring, I think there has to be a substantial floor if there's ever even a consideration for a cap from the players. I mean, there's got to be some accountability for the Pirates and the Indians and Marlins and the Pirates, and I don't even know who. I would have to look at it to say all the teams, but they can't just collect money from everybody else and then not spend it on players. And so I think there's a lot to work through on this. There's tons of bargaining that's going to have to be done where it seemingly feels like the owners have a ton of agenda and they're ready to just lock players out to get what they want. But the game still needs players, and the best players in the world, there's no scabs anymore, or replacement players that will somehow um, you know the fans will be okay with watching replacement players that are willing to cross the line. So I'm fascinated to see how united the players are, and then kind of what the give and take is on a salary cap. What are they willing to do if to get a salary cap? And what would the salary cap be? Are we looking at 300 million, 280 million, 250? Does it escalate? Does the floor, elevate as I mean, I think it's fascinating, and like I said, I think there's a ton of variables that are going to have to be worked through.
What about you, Lance? Like, I think there's some logic in saying it's hard for like a team like Pittsburgh, St. Louis to compete with the big market teams. But I know you're opposed to a salary cap. If there's a floor, do you think that would be something that might be able to be agreed upon?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at what Matt just alluded to. They're adding teams, so they're adding two more markets. They're going to add to playoffs. They're going to add to this and that, and then all that is TV money, which is revenue coming into teams in the league. So my question would be, where is the floor? That's a start. Don't even start with the cap. Hey, we want to put in a system. Here's the floor, and then you go from there. Here's the issue: you start out with cap, instantly everyone's saying player wise is fuck that. There's really no other way to say it. That's what's been ingrained in players since the day you become a major league player. We are the only league that does not have a cap. So what are you going to do to entice players? Where's the floor? Get rid of the qualifying offer, make more money, get to free agency faster, get to arbitration faster. I think if you look at multiple things, if you can get to arbitration after 2 years, you get to free agency after 4 years. Now we're talking. Then it might be worth the while because there's also going to be two more teams coming in and more playoff teams and all that. So the money's there. They're showing you the money's there. So, but how do you get it quicker? And then also with more teams going in and more floors, then the guys that are quote unquote bench guys or mid-market free agents will stay in the game too. So there's a lot of positives that could be had, but the owners are pretty much saying we want a cap. We're not giving you anything. We're locking you out. That's pretty much been the talk. So where's the other things that come with it? And they want an international draft, so they don't have to pay international guys any money. They're trying to do everything they can to pay lower people even less money, and then put a cap on it so the higher people can't make money too. So all in all, it is a shitty deal for the players with them giving nothing back to the players. So I'm anxious to see well, I won't see it because I'm not part of the CBA anymore, but what the actual offer would be to actually get a cap, because there's a lot of things that they'd have to give up to get a cap that they won't do.
If I'm from the players union, I immediately offer you guys contracts to be in the room for that thing. As it sits now, do you think there's any chance that there won't be a stoppage? I'll start with you on that, Matt. I'll go with Matt on that.
I mean, I think there's always a chance, right? I think when you get down to it, the owners don't want to lose money and the players don't want to lose money. So there's always a chance. I mean, this seemingly uh and maybe it's because there's more media coverage and social media, but this seemingly is has been the biggest sort of frontage of this is when they're going to take their stand, they're going to put their foot in the ground or whatever, and this is going to be their time to get their cap. Like I said, I think that they've always wanted that, and that's always been something that they're very high on, but this feels a little different. Like I said, I think there's always a chance that something could get worked out because ideally, both players and owners don't want to miss money. They don't want to miss out on money, right? Players don't want to not get their salary, and owners don't want to not get their gate. But this feels like it's probably headed towards some sort of delay. Um, I want to, optimistically, I want to hope that there's no games missed, but um, it's just, I think the message has just been so strange because, the announcement of two new teams and how we're going to realign divisions and the optimistic view of how well baseball's doing. And then at the same time, we're starting to paint this narrative that it's cap or bust. And I don't know. It's just kind of a weird message, I think, that's going out.
I hope they don't stop play because it impacts not only players, teams, people that make their livings, maybe doing sideline reporting. Give me a percentage, Lance, of what you think. Give me a percentage of games will go on as scheduled. What percentage do you think at this point, knowing the talking really hasn't even begun yet?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking. A percentage is tough. I think they'll be. If you want my guess, they're going to lock out the moment they can. The moment that the CBA expires, Rob's already said, "Hey, that's my best negotiation tool is to lock people out." So it's like that's instantly just telling the players, like, "Okay, we're not." He hasn't even sent over offers or anything yet, or what it would look like. It'd say, "Hey, we're locking you out, and then we're going to start negotiating." So look how strong and tough I am. That's what he's doing right out of the gate, and that's the hard part for players. It's like, okay, that's what you want to do. When it's all said and done, they want to lock everybody out. They want everything capped and do all that so they can add teams, add playoff teams, and all this, and then all the revenue will not be part of this CBA, and then they can have the lowest cap they hope to get, which will give them the most upside to make the most money once the new teams and all that come in. So I think there's two ways this is going to go. They're going to miss. I remember the TV. What we knew that they had to put on TV to get their TV deal. I think it's like 142 games or something like that. So the most games that would be missed is 20. So 20 games will be missed, and it will come to an impasse, and they'll oppose the previous CBA. That's my guess.
Ugh, ugh, it's gloomy.
I think the whole like lockout in January, like that doesn't affect the players. Like they don't really want to be at the facility anyways. Like even
Not at
if,
all.
I mean, everybody's doing their own workouts, they have their own people. Like the lockout of that doesn't, like players don't get scared when they get locked out on January 1st or whatever, December, whatever it is.
Cool. I don't have to talk to the team.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
exactly. So I don't think that's an issue. I think, like we talked about, like when you start missing games and you start thinking about missing, a full year of your career, um, towards free agency, towards arbitration, towards, real money that affects your family. I think that's when players get a little uneasy. But locking us out for a couple months and missing 2 weeks of spring training, not a threat. Not that doesn't bother players.
It's they're gonna have to be the owners are gonna be have to okay with missing the first month of the season and actually missing games to not get to 162. And it sounds like they're okay with that. And I think the numbers. I think that they're okay with missing April. So the players have to get around being okay with missing April, and it's like it's fucking cold anyways.
Yeah.
All right.
Like it's
No, I'm sad because I was hoping there'd be some positivity,
Well,
but
don't be sad. I mean, we don't know anything. We're just
Yeah, I
guessing.
know.
I'm being very positive. They're not missing a
Yeah.
whole season.
Yeah.
I have a tear right here. Let's talk about stuff on the field, away from the boardroom and the negotiating table. Um, Cardinals season about to wrap up. They're going to finish out their home schedule this coming weekend. When you look at the Cardinals right now, I know you both follow them. Who would you see in the rotation for next year? I'll start with you, Matt. Who are the, because you'll need five, and they always say, well, you got to have some depth here because one of the things about this year was crazy. No one got hurt in that starting rotation, but generally, you need 9 or 10. Usually, second months into the season, you're digging up an eighth starter. Who do you see in your rotation next year and possible depth pieces?
I mean, I'm not as familiar. I haven't been as locked in as I usually am with everything that's going on. I mean, obviously, I know Sonny wants to be there, and so he's on record of saying he's not waiving his no trade clause. And if you want to have a good team, it's good to have a guy like him at the top of the rotation. So, obviously, um, he's there. I think some of the young guys. I think it's been mixed. With McGreevy and Libator and so I think I don't know. I mean, look, you guys. I'll let Lance speak into this more than me because I think he knows the roster currently way better than I do. But I don't think anybody's like 100% locked in outside of Sonny. Like I don't. I think I think it's a very fluid situation. And again, like we talked about earlier, like are they in the market for like Framber Valdez or some of these starters that are going to be free agents that are they can slot in the 1 or 2 spot behind Sonny, and then you can start to build from there. But I don't think outside of Sonny that any of them are. Am I missing somebody? Is there somebody else that is a
I would,
for sure
I would,
thing?
I would put Lay. I mean, you have McGreevy, you have Libertor, Sonny. I like Leahy in
But
the
he's been pitching out of the bullpen
out of the
most of the year,
pen, but
right?
I keep hearing that they like him as a starter. I mean, he's got over 8 innings out of the pen, and he wants to start.
So you're looking at he's got 120 max next year.
Yeah, so I mean, I like him too. I mean, I think he's got good stuff, but I don't think that like you just go, okay, there's our number 3 starter. I mean, I don't. I mean, he's pitched well, for the most part out of the bullpen and giving you length and. But again, can you hold your stuff? I mean, it's like you don't know if this guy can hold his stuff for 150 innings. I mean, maybe he can, but as far as a sure thing, I mean, I guess Libator is probably a sure thing. He and Sonny are probably the only. I mean, I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but I would guess that those are. Is Miles a free agent? I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know the current status of everybody's contracts, but um, yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's guys in the minor leagues that had shown a lot of potential. I don't know, where they are. I need to probably follow a little closer, but I think that probably Libator and Sonny are the only guarantees.
I'm going to ask you about Libertor because um, he's had flashes, right? And he's now pitched more innings than he has in any professional year. And he had some issues where he lost velo, fatigue. Last couple starts, he hasn't dealt with that. Would you look at him as a definite piece in the rotation outside of any possible trade that came along?
I'd say yeah. I mean, I think like you said, it's Sonny and Libby right now. And then if you really want Leahy to be stretched out, then you're looking in the same boat as Libby this year. That's the way you look at Leahy next year as a hey, let's try to get it in 140 innings. We're going to have to deal with some fatigue and this and that. So the question that I would ask you, Jim, are you competing or not? If you're not competing next year, then all your starters are here.
Yeah.
That's the they're here and they're in the organization, except for maybe a $1 for $4 million veteran piece that is just there to eat innings. Like that's
Like a
maybe two.
Martin Perez or somebody like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. So I mean, I think, but if you're going to compete, then Libby's your 4 or 5, and then you get a 2 and a 3, and then Libby's your 4, and then hey, everybody that's been here all this year, nut up, see who my
Competing.
5th is.
Yeah.
And
I,
that's
I,
and that's how you do it. And
so
then you have 6, 7, 8 right there. If you
that
think
makes
about it that way,
so you have Quinn Matthews had some issues,
there's
Doyle,
there's
Roby
9,
hurt,
there's 10,
Chirpy,
there's 11. So you have your depth right there if you get 2 starters.
and if they're healthy. And again, it comes down to what you say. Are the Cardinals planning to compete or just kind of tread water until they see either where the labor negotiations go? It's a good question.
I
Is
mean,
there
you
a
can get
plan? Like,
2
do they have
quality
an like
starters.
a yeah? I mean, do they have like a end of the season press conference where they lay out a kind of a chart their plan for the off season? Is this something that they're gonna
Yeah,
do with the new GM and then
that's what I'm told, that they will have an off season at the beginning of the off season. some sort of media thing where you get to ask what the plan is going forward.
You better, I mean, you better bring the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Don't be
asking
don't
cowering down in a corner.
don't be throwing softballs up there, Jim.
What would you want me to ask?
He's
All
a-
right.
he's a
All right.
beach ball
So,
tosser.
okay. Lance,
Hey,
Lance,
hey, Chaim.
I'm a rights holder. It's a different role. All right, Lance, you're me, and I have Heim, and it's just the beginning. The plans aren't unveiled. What would you want me to ask Chaim Bloom?
I should say we cut payroll significantly this year. Are we going to increase, or are we going to put the sufficient funds needed to put a championship caliber team on the field? And if so, what does that look like? And if not, then are we in for another runway year? That's it.
All right.
I mean, that's simple. It's so simple. Are we going to 180 to $200 million? Because that's how you compete. And if you're not, then say, hey, appreciate you. We'll enjoy another runway because it's getting long. Good thing we got a big jet.
All right. So, Matt, will this work? Because I'm going to have like that question. I'm going to say, hey, Heim, not my question, but Lance Lynn wants
Of
to know
course.
this.
Of
love that.
course. That's standard Jim Hayes behavior there.
He'll
So,
be behind somebody too.
yeah.
Hey, Lance wanted me to ask.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Heim. I don't know why you're
With
killing
all
me.
due respect, like
I'm
or you can say no offense. If you say no offense, you can ask anything you want.
I am front and center dealing with you two, which you guys intimidated media quite a bit and enjoyed every minute of it, I should add. I'm front and center taking the bullets. So you can say that maybe I'm softballing, but I'm never standing in the back, and you boys know that. Go ahead and kill me.
You are. You're up in front. You get things started. You try to ease everybody in.
Yeah,
so
you put a
everybody
few
gets
balls on the
comfortable.
tee. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And get the whole thing started. Um who is the one guy of the young guys? Okay, we've talked about Mason, so I'm going to take him off the table. He's on the IL. That you're excited about seeing. Maybe it's a pitcher in the minor leagues. Maybe it's someone who's up, who's getting a little runway. Can you give me one guy you're like, I want to see what this guy's all about, and maybe I don't know enough about him?
I mean, Matt's been saying his name every week. Like that's the guy. That's the only guy you're excited about to see in the big league level at the moment. Whether it's injuries or a bad year for some other guys, he's the guy that you're like, okay, that's the only guy that the fans can be like, man, I'm really hoping that he's on the opening day roster next year. So I
And
have
who is it?
something.
Who is it?
JJ
Weather-
Weatherholt.
Yeah.
All right, Weatherhole. All right.
Well,
You've been here every week, Jim.
I think Tink
I
Hintz
wanted
too.
it out
I don't know
there.
I don't know what Tink Hintz's injury situation is. You guys can tell me where he's at. But I saw him a couple years ago at the Futures game, playing in Seattle against Jackson, and I was like, wow, like that's the kind of arm, athletic ability, like fast twitch, like kind of guy that could be like a top of the rotation pitcher. So I don't know what his current status is, but
He injured again this year, correct, for the third straight year.
Yeah.
So I
What-
don't think he's still
what
yet to
is
go
it?
over 100 innings in any season. So like if you want like just seeing guys, Matt, and over years and all that, he's a perfect candidate to get him in the bullpen and have a full season healthy.
yeah.
Because
But he's been a guy that I've had my eye on since I saw him, a couple years ago with my own eyes, where I thought there's a guy that could potentially have impact. And
I agree.
unfortunately, injuries and he's a small frame guy, if I remember correctly. So Pedro Martinez was a small frame guy too. That doesn't always mean you can't handle a long season, but like Lance said, certainly feels like the bullpen or high leverage back into the bullpen innings might be something fun to see next year.
And he has filled out a little. Last time I saw him, a lot bigger than the year before. So he's maturing, getting a little bigger. All right, so we have Weatherall. Give me another guy you're excited about seeing.
Well, I think the Doyle kid that they just drafted this year has a big arm. I saw him pitch several times. Again, I don't know as far as starter reliever. I don't know if his pitch repertoire is going to get him into the rotation super fast. I do think he's a guy that if you wanted to groom him to be a closer slash high leverage reliever, I think you could see him quickly. Now, if you want him to develop a changeup and a cutter or a sweeper, or add 2 or 3 pitches to his game, then it may be a couple years, a year or two down the line, you see him. But as far as like high spin, high fastball, pretty good command, seemingly a good competitor, likes to compete. I think he's somebody that I'm excited about to see.
Yeah, no,
I
I
love
agree
his
with
male
that.
presence.
Yeah.
Who
And
else? Who else you got, Lance?
the question is are you going to, and same with Tank, is like, are you going to sit here and wait for them to have 120 innings in the minor leagues and a third pitch with a maybe fourth, or are you going to put them in big leagues and go 2 pitch dominant and put them in the back end and get some money or get some value out of them while they're young? So
Yeah.
they've got, I mean, that's the choice you have to make. I mean, when I was coming up, it's like, hey, go pitch in the bullpen and throw 80 innings like Leahy, and then, oh, hey, he held up for it, and maybe next year, we can get him to 120, 140. There's nothing wrong with that. Instead of coming in and saying, hey, we're going to put you directly in the rotation, and hey, go make your 2 pitches dominate, and then we tinker with a third. And then the problem is that you start tinkering with 2 at a time, trying to get, hey, we want to have a 4 pitch mix next year. He could lose the 2 that he has. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, his 2 are good now. What's the third that can complement those 2, and then go
Yeah.
from there. And they're all big league ready right then. But
Yeah.
it's a weird concept. But let's get 2 good ones, and then a third that we can have in our back pocket. And then once we get that as a legitimate third, then we go to the fourth. So it's a ladder here, but you can still get outs at the big league level with a +2, especially in the bullpen.
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously Paul Skeens is a unicorn, and don't want to compare anybody to Paul Skeens, but if you look at the way they moved him, and then kind of now he's developed every year, or the last 2 years, he's kind of developed a little bit of a different pitch. But it still comes down to how good his four-seam fastball is, right? I mean, he pitches off that fastball, and I'm not saying Doyle has Skeen's fastball, but you can pitch with a really good fastball and then learn over the next, couple off seasons that, like, hey, if I spread my fingers like this, or I can develop a changeup if I, if somebody gives you a kick change, like, you can add things. But I'm with Lance. Like, I think if you got 2 pitches that are effective and you got a fastball like Lance, somebody that has an elite level heater, you can get outs, and you can tinker with a couple other pitches while you're getting outs with those 2 main pitches. And so I think the Pirates have done a really good job. I mean, like I said, I'm not comparing him to Skeens. Skeens
I think
is a
Garrett Crochet's a good one, right?
yeah.
Skeens was a pretty polished guy, number
Yeah.
1 overall pick, with his college coach being a major league pitching coach when he got him. So he was groomed out of college to kind of do it. Garrett Crochet, 11th overall out of Tennessee, big leagues as a reliever, pretty quick. Had a one or 2 pitch mix, 4-seam and a slider, and then now he's got a sweeper. Now he's got a 2-seam. Now he throws a little cutter, and he's in his 2nd year of starting, but his 4th year in the big leagues. But he's had success as a reliever, and then he went to starting and had a good, like that. I would say that's a good. And I talked to Garrett yesterday. He's slowly building, and he's throwing a little 2-seam more just to get enough. And it's like, hey, it's all you got to have is just a little bit to get them off your bread and butter, right? That's it. And it's like all these guys want these great movement pitches. It's like you have your 1 and 2, and then that third just enough to piss the hitter off so they can't sit on your 1 and 2. That's it. Just enough. Just a little tickle, Matt. You don't want that, especially when it comes in. You don't like it.
Well, I mean, just in the back of a hitter's mind that you might throw a changeup, I think is makes it effective enough. And so, or that you might use the other side of the plate here and there. If you dominate the inside part, like if you have a Doyle or a Crochet that can just really get in on righties, that really can pound the inside part of the plate with a fastball and then a cutter, a little slider. If you can just show them that you might throw a sinker or a changeup to the other side of the plate, now they have to at least think about it. And I think that's what great pitchers do. I mean, they typically don't have 4 or 5 amazing pitches. They typically have one or two that are dominant, and then they show you the other two just enough to keep you honest and to keep it in the back of your mind so that you can't sit dead red on a heater.
Isn't that a rarity, Lance, though, now, pitchers? Because it's velo guys, right? Those are the guys that get moved along quickly.
Well, and it's because velo guys can get outs quicker and easier with your heater. Like Matt said, if you got a plus heater and then you got something that spins or a changeup, you can go get outs. And then we add one at a time. The problem is when you try to add 4 pitches at a time. Let's use your heater. What plays off your heater, right? If you have a plus heater, every hitter is trying to get to that heater. What deceptively comes off your heater and plays right away? That's your second pitch. Learn to command it, learn to throw it for a strike, and learn to throw it for a chase. Once you get that, then we go to the third pitch. And then what's the third pitch that movement pattern's different? If you got a four seam and a cutter, then you need a sinker or changeup to go away. So then you have the old shotgun blast. It's going 3 different directions and it's all coming out of that same cannon.
Matt, if you're in the box against a fastball pitcher, right? And he's got a good fastball. That's what consumes your attention, right?
Sure. I mean, I think in general, outside of, especially nowadays, where they think the average fastball is up to almost 95 miles an hour, you have to be now where you hit the fastball. I mean, I think you can change, right? So if you can't come off the fastball, but if I've got a guy that is throwing a high percentage of off speed, I might try to hit the fastball to right field or think about having a rhythm that hits the ball the other way. Because I know how many off-speed pitches this guy throws, but he still throws 95, so I still have to respect it. But then you have a guy that throws, say, 60 or 70% heaters, and they're close to me, like he wants to come in. Then I've got to try to get the bat head a little bit further out front, where I think about hitting it to left center, and then trust that I'm going to see enough percentage of fastball that I'll get that pitch to hit. But I don't think nowadays with the velo so high that you can come off the fastball. I mean, it's just too hard. You don't see the guys that throw 88 to 91 anymore, that you can kind of sit in between pitches and still hit both. So it's certainly more challenging, but yeah, I mean, look, if a guy has a good fastball, you've got to be ready for it, which makes his other pitches more effective.
Last question, because it relates to this, Lance. We don't see a ton of guys who throw 200 innings anymore. I know part of it is back in the old days, when a pitcher felt something sore, they pitched through it. Otherwise, they were back home, selling shoes or whatever. I think that plays into it. But we don't see a lot of innings eaters anymore. Why do you think that is?
I think the number one thing is you're not groomed for it anymore in the minor leagues either. Like everything we're talking about right now is they're getting you to the big leagues as fast as possible. I think if you told a team that you can have 7 to 8 guys that can all throw 150 innings, they'll take it right now. They would rather have that than guys that throw 200 innings. Because more times than not, if you throw less innings, you're going to be fresher. Your stuff's going to be better. That's what they're learning. That's why you have these openers and all that. It's like we want stuff right out of the gate. Then we get some length 1 or 2 times through, and then we get through there. So the more you throw, the stuff naturally is going to get a little bit less crisp. So if you look at it, if you can have some of the best rotations in baseball have 3 or 4 guys throwing 160 to 180 innings, and that's actually pretty good. But like when I said back in my day, when I threw 200 innings, it was like you're one of 3 or 4 guys on your rotation that are throwing 200 innings, and that's when you had a good thing. So the new 200 is 180. And that's the way it is, and there's nothing wrong with it in this sense because it's more max effort. Remember back in the day, it was like, hey, I need you to go and the strikeout. Once the strikeout took over, the innings are going to drop because guys are flying over. I was told early on, I need you to get someone out in 3 pitches or less. I don't want you to strike anyone out. I want the ball put in play, and I want to go. And then it turned into, hey, you need to strike people out or you're not any good. So that's what it is. Guys are just letting it eat. And it's like, if I throw 5 2/3, but I strike out 8 to 10, it's better than throwing 7 innings and striking out 4.
Fair
But
enough.
I would take 7 innings and strike out 4 every time, especially if
Yeah, I
was
mean,
to go
I don't
for it
even
short.
think I don't even think they allow guys to go 200 innings. They just take you out. I mean, if you have a good outing, outside of a handful of guys, if you get through 6, like you're done. Like even if you're pitching really really well, um, they take you out. I mean, there's the quality of the bullpens and how many guys throw 100 miles an hour now. Like if you get through the six, like I said, unless you're dominating and you got 77 pitches, they'll let you go back out for the seventh and maybe the eighth if you're dominating. But more times than not, if you've given up 2 runs and you just pitch 6 innings, like they're good. That's good. That's plenty. So I think it's I don't even think teams look at that mark anymore, the 200 inning mark anymore. I don't think with the new age analytics that that isn't even on their radar as something that's important or that they even look at, right? I think Lance is right. I think they look at more like 160 to 180 innings. You have those middle inning bullpen guys that throw 80 innings, and then you have, your 7, 8, 9 guy that are cleaning up wins, and that's I think that's more how they look at it. I don't. It's just the game in general is framed and looked at just so much different than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Interesting stuff, Matt. I'm just curious. Before we go, did you get to finish your breakfast,
I did.
or do you get to do that now?
No, that was good. That was good.
All right, and Lance, did you finish yours? Or you're gonna eat now?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
You're good. All right, gentlemen. I appreciate it. You brought up good points. There was less of me this week, which makes it a better episode. More of you guys. That's going to do it for Serving It Up. We'll see you on the next edition of Serving It Up. Hopefully, that won't be awful.